And I'm back.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the SCB Steelers Podcast presented by DEK Roofing Incorporated of South Florida. Coming to you on a Wednesday night instead of Thursday because the Black and Gold, of course, play on Thursday night this week in their preseason finale. We are, of course, very proud and very, very happy to be part of the Variety Sports Network. And the show comes to you from the Frank Walker Law Studio.
I'm back in the high life again.
Ben is back in the high life. That's a little Steve Winwood reference there as he pours his champagne of beers. Little high life there. And Ian should be along shortly. Ian is double timing right now. I told you guys at the end of last week's show that he has cranked up all of his WPIAL, his Western Pennsylvania high school football stuff, and he was at a studio this evening doing a show on that, and he's on his way home. He should be joining us. And as far as Hader Scarpino, he had a few family obligations tonight, and sends his best. Yeah. And so hopefully he'll be back with us next week.
Scarpino would rather spend time with his family than you guys.
I mean, that's really what it's about.
He doesn't love you guys very much.
Right. Priorities.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But
which shows you guys where you stand.
Right.
I mean, us too.
Right. And hello to everybody in the chat. I see Tom and Aaron and Burner are in. Welcome in, guys, as always. And thanks to Aaron for the awesome intro video as well, as he gets ready to cheer on his Buckeyes by waving his towel next weekend. I think it is. And,
you actually bought one of those terrible towel ripoffs, Aaron? Seriously?
I'm sure he did. He probably hangs it above the actual terrible towel, too. That's the kind of guy he is, you know. We're trying to get him to conform, but
he's secretly a Browns fan. He just doesn't want to acknowledge it because they suck.
You gotta wonder. I mean, both of his brothers are Browns fans. They're being handed out. Even worse,
they're free.
That's like the Minnesota Homer hanky back in 91 World Series or something like that.
Burner, it's to wipe their asses with. Not to wipe the drool off their mouths.
Oh, sold the tickets? Aaron, you're not a true fan. What the hell?
I don't know. I mean,
I don't blame him. I don't blame anybody that's got tickets these days. I mean, exactly. Stress-free. You don't deal with parking. You don't deal with idiots. I love going to the games. Don't get me wrong. I try to do one a year, and usually that's enough for me. I love the festive atmosphere and stuff, but man.
He just loves tailgating.
Well,
he just loves 100,000 people in one spot tailgating, or 200,000 people in one spot tailgating.
Well,
100,000 of which sit outside the stadium and watch the game on TV in the lot. I've never understood that. I went to Tuscaloosa for that once. It was Tuscaloosa, LSU.
Yeah.
And they said it was probably between 250 and 300,000 people outside the stadium.
No doubt.
And then when the game started, 100,000 move in, but the rest of them just sit out there and they got their big screens and they're watching on the rabbit ears. I was like, seriously? You could have just stayed home for that.
I mean, growing up and going to a lot of games in Ann Arbor, I mean, I saw some of that as well. The funniest thing I ever saw was at a school at the time. It was called Louisiana Lafayette. Now it's just known as Louisiana. And my beloved Western Michigan Broncos were playing down there Thanksgiving weekend. My dad was living down in that area of Louisiana at the time. So we just took off and went down there for the weekend, drove over to Lafayette for the game. Well, they're a small D1 school, and you get there, and it's a nice stadium, but there were 3 or 4 more times more people outside partying, having fun. They didn't even care about the game. They had no idea there was a football game going on. We went inside the place. It was like a mausoleum. I mean, nobody was in there. Everybody was outside listening to jazz and, yeah.
There were people outside the stadium that had traveled from Baton Rouge to do the tailgate and watch the game outside. I was like, seriously?
Oh,
You're just going to sit out here in the parking lot and all right.
Yep. I don't.
People are nuts, man.
Yes.
People are nuts.
I mean, obviously, we're probably right up there with them, seeing as we host a podcast every week on a football team. But, let me bring in Ian. He has arrived. Doubleheader podcasts for Ian tonight. Get busy living or get busy dying. Love it. Love it.
Shawshank Redemption reference.
Oh, fantastic. That's one of those movies that I do not change the channel if I'm flipping through. Bingo, you got to watch it. Hope everybody's good tonight. And again, thanks for joining us on a Wednesday. Ben, I'll start right off the bat. Is Mike Tomlin making the correct move by not playing Aaron Rodgers at all in the preseason?
No, in my opinion. And he's compounding the weight of that decision by also not playing DK Metcalf. Those guys got to get on the same page. The relationship between a quarterback and a wide receiver, I've said this a bunch of times, and I stole it from Steve Young. It's like a dance. They have got to be on the same page. That guy's got to know where he is, how fast he's going to run his route, because that's one of the things Hines Ward always talk about. You got to know how to run every route at 3 different speeds, depending upon the situation.
True.
And the guy who's throwing the ball has to know where you are, where you're going to be when his third step or fifth step hits the ground. He's got to know where you're going to be, and then throw the ball where you're going to be when the ball gets there. So it's like a dance, and not getting any game reps to me is not good. But I mean, I guess we'll see. I think the first 3 or 4 weeks are going to be sloppy. It's going to be a mess on offense.
Ian, how do you feel about this decision? And I'm also going to piggyback that by bringing up the other players, Cam, TJ. Is it as big a difference for them as it is for Rodgers and Metcalf?
I don't think it's as big of a difference for the defensive players because as a defensive player, you got to work on your communication a little bit with the guys next to you, especially if you're running stunts or things like that. But a lot of the technique and stuff, you can drill that stuff in practice and kind of be ready to go. And for those guys having been in the league long enough, they kind of know, right? I think the bigger thing for the defensive players is more the game speed and physical shape, right? That those, as Tomlin calls them, bumps and bruises associated with playing football can happen to you a lot more when you ramp up from practice speed to regular season game speed without that sort of intermediary step of preseason speed, right? I remember last year watching the season opener game between Kansas City and Baltimore. And after watching the preseason and being like, holy crap, this is a completely different level of speed than what we were seeing in the preseason, right? The game speed is just so much more. So I think, especially for those players that have that sort of quick twitch to their game, bursting off the defensive line,
right,
ramping up to that game speed can be a little bit difficult without having that intermediary step of at least a couple preseason reps. But Ben's absolutely right. It's not as big a deal as quarterback, wide receiver, and especially like for Rodgers, right? He's never been in a huddle in a stadium with fans yelling with his offensive line. Like, getting a play call in, getting the play call read. Rodgers said on the radio he's got the whole playbook memorized, which is great. But nevertheless, like, just that communication of, okay, what am I doing with my coordinator to get the play call in, to get it to my guys, to get out there, get up to the line? What are we doing from an audible standpoint? People have talked all the time about Aaron Rodgers and his whole intricate audible system and hand signals and things that all these guys have to know, right? You can rep that in practice, but until you do it in a game, it's completely different. So I do think, especially given how we've seen with the Bengals and the Rams over the last couple of years resting the starters, how sloppy they came out the first couple of weeks of the season. I agree with Ben. It's going to be a rough first month. Thankfully, the schedule's a little bit lighter, but not much. I mean, these are still NFL teams we have to play against.
And Ben, Tomlin, and I'm staying on this topic, but Tomlin, he didn't come out and say this directly, but he made some comments that I took as what I'm about to say. He really feels like they get game situation out of those joint practices that they had with Tampa Bay last week.
I think they do, but
yeah,
because the level of competition goes up naturally, because you're around a bunch of guys that you're not there with all the time. The shit talk is more fierce, and it's a little bit nastier. So I don't disagree with that comment. I agree with what he's saying, but you get the aforementioned part about Rodgers and being on the same page with wide receivers. But the thing about a scrimmage versus a preseason game is they're actually allowed to hit the quarterback.
Right.
And Aaron Rodgers' numbers the past 2 years were even worse than Russell Wilson's. And he was terrible when he was pressured. He was fucking awful. And Rodgers is worse if you look at it.
Yeah, statistically, it's worse.
Statistically, he's slightly worse than Russell Wilson was. So I would have liked to get him in there and get used to those situations, and also have the offensive line get in there with him and work with him a little bit on some passing downs, so they kind of know where he's going to be and what he's going to do. Or you run into situations like the other day where Joe Burrow, who should fucking know better, walked into a sack. Yes, his left tackle wasn't doing a great job, but he kind of had the guy, and Burrow walked into him. And it was like, okay, well, you got to make it harder than that to tackle you. I mean, come on, man.
I mean, he was tossed around like a rag doll.
Oh, that was bad.
Yeah,
that was bad.
I mean, that was, you want to talk about an entire collective fan base with their hearts and their.
Burrow made that look like a very bad coaching decision. Very bad.
Yeah, and and I understand that that's what Tomlin is avoiding here is making sure that at the very least he's going to have his starting quarterback. But I agree with both you guys. I think that the first 3 to 4 weeks of the season, which, look, every game in the NFL is crucial. We know that. But again, the schedule sets up, much like it did last year. They could have a nice start to the season before they really get into the meat grinder. And if this offense is just absolutely horrible and they have to rely completely on the defense, we've seen how that goes. Some years it works, some years it doesn't. I don't know. Cam Heyward and Chris Boswell appear to have ended their hold-ins as of right now. Ian, do you think either of those two guys gets a deal done? One, both, none? What do you think?
If the Steelers are smart, they do one with Boswell. They don't need to do one with Cam. They can, out of the goodness of their hearts.
Later.
They don't necessarily need to. The reason I say if they're smart, they do one with Boswell is, as we have seen, teams like the Eagles that have gotten out in front of contracts 2 years ahead of time, basically get out in front of the market when the cap is lower, and the cap's going to keep going up, up, up. Even if you make the guy the highest paid player at his position, right, for a kicker, that's like $6 million, $6.5 million a year.
6.6.
Yeah, that would be just over 6.5.
Yeah, exactly. So we're not talking about that much money. And then you also get out in front of a Brandon Aubrey contract, a couple other contracts that, if you wait a year on Boswell, you might wind up paying him $8, $9, $10 million a year just to give him the highest paid number, depending on whatever that is. So to get out in front of it, make him the highest paid now actually saves you money in the long run. And there's a pretty easy path forward to be able to do that. Cam Heyward, does he deserve to be paid more than what he's currently making? Yes. Do the Steelers have to do anything with him? Probably not, because he's at the tail end of his career and he has 2 years left on his contract. So, I mean, and next year is just like this year was. It's a $13 million roster bonus due in March. And other than that, it's just like a vet minimum base salary. So unless they're afraid Cam's going to sit out, or unless they want to give him a thank you for your service bonus if they think this is going to be the last year of his career, they don't need to do anything from a cap standpoint with Cam.
Ben, you have been very supportive of Cam in recent days.
I have, and I am, but I think this situation specifically, Cam and Boz, and now I agree, doing Boz is easy because it's $1.6 million, which to them is chump change. Just straight up chump change. Highest paid kicker in the league is $6.6 million. Boz is at $5 million. You give him a $1.6 million raise. Now he's at $6.6 million. He's the highest paid kicker. Done deal. Easy choice, right? But if you do Boz, you got to do Cam, because the whole locker room is watching it, seeing what's going to happen, and there really isn't a precedent there to do new deals with 2 years left. That's why the Steelers are so reluctant to get this done. Is they're like, well, no, we've never done that. We don't want to start doing it now. While I agree in principle with what he is saying, you do want to get out in front of these. You do want to buy while the price is low rather than letting the market go up. I completely agree with that. That's just not the way the Steelers do business.
Do you think, Ben, that it's going to be both or neither?
Yes.
Wow. And strictly from like a locker room standpoint.
I think if you do one, you got to do the other. And if you don't do one, you can't do the other. You can't pick and choose here, because those guys, the guys in the locker room, are going to see it and they're going to make a decision. Do them at the same time.
Burner with the Office Space reference.
Do them at the same time. Nice.
2 ticks the same time.
2 contracts at the same time.
Well played, Burner.
I think that the solution here is to move some money up from next year into this for Cam, and then to exit the year knowing Cam's going to retire. That's my take. I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but that's what I think they should do.
Ian, do you think it's a bit of a, and I hate the term game changer, but I'll use that, if Cam went to them and said, look, this is it. It's my last rodeo. I'm done. I want that money now. Does that change things?
Maybe a little bit from their standpoint, but I mean, until he actually files his retirement paperwork, and you can't do that without actually retiring. So a verbal agreement can always be changed.
Again, there's a precedent for moving money up.
There is a precedent. You're right about that.
From future years to the present year. They did it twice with Antonio Brown.
Maybe.
Yes.
Yep.
And I am 100% certain that his agent pointed that out to the Steelers.
I would agree.
Tom brings up a good point here in the chat about, and we've talked about this before, that the Steelers' way of doing business is very much old school, right? That for the longest time, we talked about this with the TJ contract, right? For the longest time, they didn't guarantee money other than the signing bonus. And now with how much guaranteed money, they had to guarantee DK Metcalf into the second year. They had to guarantee TJ money into the second year. So it's one of those things where they're slowly evolving, but there's still other things where, they still don't do void years on contracts. They still don't.
Not often. They did a bunch of them one year.
The COVID season.
All right. That was the 2020 year where the cap went down with COVID. I throw that out, right? They were in a, let's take one last gasp with Roethlisberger while he's still here. Yeah. And it was the COVID year, which was weird. So that one I throw out because it wasn't a normal year. But beyond
TJ's got guarantees into year 3.
Yeah, well, they had to give him the amount of guaranteed money he wanted.
Which is for them, it's wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So I do think, I guess I will say on that point, though, that kind of the next domino to fall probably is, well, there's 2 dominoes to fall.
Okay.
I don't know which one comes first. One of them is we don't extend a guy till he only has 1 year left. And the other one is we don't negotiate contracts during the season. Other teams do it, right? Other teams will extend guys during the season. Other teams will extend guys with 2 years left on their deal. So those are kind of the two areas where they are still old school, stuck in the past, however you want to put it.
If the Eagles, let's say that the Eagles had, instead of going to a few Super Bowls in recent years and, winning a couple and stuff, if they would have just made the playoffs, let's say, would their way of doing business be as well respected as it currently is?
Probably not.
I just say that because it's what gets attention, and everybody's, oh wow, look what the Eagles are doing. They win Super Bowls and stuff. But I'm sure they're, yeah. Go ahead. Ian.
Yeah. Can I to finish the point? I'll say probably not. That said, a lot of teams have taken to do a contract with 2 years left because of how the cap and how contracts have escalated. Mm-hmm. So I think in that respect, they would be seen as getting out in front of things and very forward thinking. That would be very well received. I think where they found kind of the market inefficiency is with the void years in the contracts. And the Eagles and the 49ers are really the two that have really stacked things with void years. And yes, both of them have made Super Bowl runs in the last couple seasons. And I don't know if those teams lost in the divisional round both of those years. I think a lot of people would kind of be like, they're really mortgaging their future cap for
exactly
a
what I was getting
run that didn't pay off. But it did pay off for both of them. Yep. But for every team like that, there's a team like the Jets that stacks something up and it doesn't pay off.
Yeah, or the Browns.
Right. And that's exactly what I mean. Is that perspective is everything. And
Cleveland.
By the way, I don't know if you guys saw the story since you mentioned Cleveland, and Ian, you posted this in our chat.
Yes.
The story about the new Cleveland stadium not meeting the standards of the Ohio state laws.
I mean, basically, they're like, the airport has to approve it, right?
Right.
So they're going, no, the building's going to be too tall as it's designed. 55 feet too tall.
Right. Not like 10 or 12 feet. 55.
No, 55 feet too tall. So, no. By the way, we told you this before you designed it.
Yeah.
So, go back to the drawing board.
It's classic Cleveland.
Fields can't. He's not a good passer.
He's not.
He's just not.
He almost, I'll be honest with you, watching some of his tape, he almost looks like he's regressed from last year.
I agree with you, man. He's athletic as hell, but
yes,
the way he's throwing the ball, making decisions, I'm like, wow, I'm really glad the Steelers. I'm kind of glad they didn't work out.
I mean,
Steelers were like, we'll give you $15 million guaranteed. No, okay, bye.
I mean, it's like check down Charlie. I mean, he's just not throwing the ball downfield at all. He's struggling to complete short passes. Of course, we say that now. He'll end up passes 350 against us.
The dude's missing on swing passes.
Yeah. Wide receiver. There have been a lot of teams making moves with receivers the last 36, 48 hours. One of them that hasn't is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
He's shopping.
He's definitely shopping.
He is shopping.
We know he is. It's been made public. Andy Weidel pretty much said it this week. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he did. He was interviewed, I think it was during the joint practices with Tampa. And I mean, he didn't come out and say, yes, we're looking, but he said, those classic lines about, well, we're always looking to upgrade the team, that kind of stuff.
We're really regretful about not
addressing it sooner.
No, not drafting Ibuka, but as Ian points out, he wasn't available.
Correct.
When we chose.
Yeah.
I mean, Derek Harmon, I think is going to be a good player. I really do.
Oh, I think he was absolutely the correct pick.
But I also, I look at that and I'm like, damn, what was it? 2-3 picks ahead of us?
Yeah.
Ibuka? Yeah.
2 picks, I think.
2, I think. Because we were 21 and I think he went 19.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like was it Gabe Davis came back in and again nothing.
Gabe Davis, there are medical red flags, which is why they brought him back.
Mm-hmm.
And they also, the person I'm talking to thinks they brought him back to say, look, man, there's some medical flags here. We want you to take less. And he said, no, I'm visiting Buffalo tomorrow. So your offer hasn't changed? No, it hasn't. Okay, well, I'll let you know. And he left.
Yeah.
So,
and that's fine. I mean, I think we all know what you get with Gabe Davis. I mean, he's got some deep ball potential. He's got some drop potential, but he's a really good blocker.
He is. He is. And he's also 26.
Yeah.
So he's betting on himself.
Yep.
And I respect the moxie.
Sure.
I respect his balls. I really do. But the Steelers they're not going to do it. They're offering a 1-year deal. And I don't know what that number is, but my understanding is it's low. So
we haven't seen Calvin Austin in 2.5 weeks now. I think he
is practicing again.
Okay.
But he's not doing team drills.
Okay.
He's got a strained oblique is my understanding.
Mm-hmm,
and that's like turning your body. When you've got a strained oblique, it's a bitch.
Yeah.
Throwing the ball when you got a strained oblique is a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. It is what it is. Especially when you're one of those little teeny tiny water bug wide receivers with the quick twitch everything.
Yeah, it really does affect everything. Like yeah. Hey, Claude, welcome to the show, buddy.
Hello, Claude.
Hi, Claude.
Yeah, so I don't. My gut feeling is that we're getting to the point where it's just going to be some guy that is kicked to the curb by somebody come August 26th.
My gut feeling is it's not going to be Robert Woods. He's going to get cut.
Yeah, I'm total agreement. Do I admit Scotty Miller has had a really nice training camp and a nice preseason? Yes. I still don't know that I'm crazy about him making the roster.
No, the dude weighs 175 pounds, man.
I mean, Rodgers apparently has a good relationship with him. Things are going well.
The only way I can see Scotty Miller making the roster is if they don't think Calvin Austin's going to be healthy for week 1. And they're like, we want a slot receiver to come in and play. And Austin's going to be a game day inactive because Austin's going to make the roster.
Yes.
So if they want someone who they're like, all right, this guy is going to get a helmet in week 1 to be our slot wide receiver, I could see that being Scotty Miller. Because I think now,
if they need a roster,
number 2,
if they need a roster spot, if they figure they're doing the math and they need a roster spot, guys like Calvin Austin who haven't practiced for 3 weeks, even if they are close to being healthy, and I don't mean specifically him, but I mean guys that aren't practicing for whatever reason, they become candidates for injured reserve designated for return.
Mm-hmm.
All of them. So just don't be surprised if somebody goes on and you're like, wow, the injury must be worse than I thought. That's not necessarily the case. They're like, no, we need the roster spot now, and you're not available, so you're going on injured reserve, which sucks for that guy because he can't practice for a month.
Right. We have to remember that Pony is
a dipshit.
Yeah, and
an engagement farmer.
He literally makes shit up
and tells people that
and puts it out.
Yeah. I don't know. I think one of the problems the Steelers often have is that their fan base can fall in love with a player and they don't want to move said player. And I think Muth falls into that category right now.
Really?
Yep. I think Muth is a beloved player right now in the fan base, to the fan base. And again, I'm just giving you that perspective of what I see. And when you think about it, he's always involved in like things like the schedule release. He's involved in the alternate uni release. He's the face oftentimes of the team. And I'm not saying that's a reason you should or shouldn't trade a guy because
I like Freiermuth. But
I think he's a great person.
I don't think he's that good a player.
Yeah.
I think he's pretty good.
He's a nice player.
I wouldn't even call him good. I don't think he's a top 10 tight end in this league.
No, I don't think he is either.
So, would I call him untouchable? No.
He should not be.
Honestly, untouchable would be like top 5, 6, 7 tight ends in the league.
Right.
And he's not close to that.
Yeah. Burner, I hope you're right. I hope the emotional side of it isn't part of it. I'm just basically going on the way I interpret the fans'
that is true.
Love for him, the way the team uses him. Yeah.
Omar seems less sentimental about it.
Right.
Let's put it that way.
And that's good. As a GM, I think you're supposed to be that way.
Well, you should, and you should also acknowledge your mistakes. The other side of it is you should acknowledge your mistakes. If you make a mistake with drafting a player, or acquiring a player, you should acknowledge that you made the mistake and then move on. And I think for a long time, the Steelers have not done that. And as a result, they've hung on to players for longer than they should have. And I think you would all agree with that point.
However,
go ahead, Ian.
I will say Omar's only a few years into his tenure, and he has had no problem cutting guys that Kevin Colbert drafted. Now, when we start to get into the guys who Omar drafted, it'll be interesting to see if he has that same sort of sentiment. Now, granted, right, Omar was here under Kevin. Like, he was part of that whole room. He was part of those discussions. He was part of those draft boards, all that stuff. So it's not like Omar didn't have a hand in drafting some of those guys. Yes, he has been quicker on the trigger than Colbert was to cut guys. But I think it's going to be interesting to see, as we get into, okay, these are guys that Omar drafted 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Is he willing to cut them like he was willing to cut the guys that Colbert drafted?
I think that's a good point.
I don't think that. Do we really think that Omar has anything to do with roster decisions at the end of the day? I think he's a great deal to do with acquisition.
I don't think he does to the point that Kevin did.
I don't think that he does either. I think that, contractually, Kevin had final say on the roster. I don't believe that Omar does. I think that Mike makes those decisions now, and he decides who's coming, who's staying, who's going.
Yeah.
And then he decides how those players are going to be used.
Agreed.
That's the situation now. Now, as far as acquisition goes, obviously scouting, preparing for the draft, negotiating contracts, all of that. Absolutely. That's Omar and his department 100%. But as far as roster decisions go, I think everybody defers to Mike.
And I also think, kind of to piggyback a little bit on Ian's point, I think we're still in the process of evaluating Omar Khan a little bit too. He just had his
third year.
So I'm cautious. I try not to get too high or too low on anything he does because we're still in that infancy stage, I guess, if you will. So outside linebackers, Ian, any concern with the current depth there? The way the things are currently shaking out?
Who are our starters this week?
Me and you.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, obviously Sawyer's one of them because he's not playing.
You know what? Granted, and as we always do, guys, preface preseason, second, third, fourth teamers. I thought Leota played well the other night. He might get some more snaps this week. I don't think
he probably moved up on the depth chart because
he had to.
You've got a couple of guys who are out injured. So
now Highsmith is back practicing, but I don't know to what
he's
extent.
Not going to play. I mean,
oh no, he's definitely not playing this week. But I don't know if he'll even be ready for week one. Leal, did you guys notice they played Leal down a little bit more this week? He wasn't in the stand-up OLB as much as he was the week before.
But he was in a 3-point stance. He was still playing edge.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I just was surprised to see him down. Of course, Sawyer was down a little bit too.
Burner, you're just a hater, according to Aaron.
That's right.
Just so
Aaron
you know,
says you're a hater.
Aaron says you're just a hater. You and Scarpino.
Well, I will say for Jack Sawyer that the next time he makes a play will be the first time. So,
I'm struggling with him.
Actually,
I'm trying.
He did play okay.
Yeah. Now here's a guy that froze
he
up.
played okay versus the run.
Yeah,
I think he's fine against the run. I
think he played in fairness. I think he played okay against the run. I do think he made some plays. Did he make tackles? No.
Right.
Did he hold his gap? Yes.
I mean, I see nothing that excites me as far as a pass rusher.
No, God, no. Nope.
That
dude is 100% a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
And that's going to be
I mean, you can tell the kid absolutely loves being out there. He's a competitor. He's the motor goes, all that stuff. But until, and maybe that's what it will be when he makes that big play. Maybe that's what the catalyst will be. I don't know. But to this point, he's just been a guy. And, I think this week we're going to see a lot more of them simply because of the injuries to Herbig, injuries to Highsmith. They did bring in Kenny Willekes, played his college ball at Michigan State. Really, really good player. But he went to Minnesota, I believe, had a bunch of injuries and found himself in the USFL where he had a very nice season, I think, with the Michigan Panthers, maybe. And, so he's probably nothing more than a warm body at this point to take up some reps this week. So, I outside of that, I don't know. Jeremiah Moon was cut with an injury designation, if I recall. So he's probably not even healthy. You can't bring him back.
You can't bring him back for whatever the amount of time is that they had to pay an injury settlement, right? So let's just say his injury was projected to take 3 weeks to recover from. They have to pay him for that 3 weeks when they release him. If he's healthy enough to pass a physical in 1 week, he can sign with someone else. That's the way that works.
Okay, thank you. Yep. So I think they will. If things remain as they are, I think they'll be scouring the waiver wire for outside linebacker depth come the 26th.
Which is weird because I thought it was pretty solid. It's just we got a bunch of guys that, and you really have to be worried now about, I'm sorry, but you have to be worried about Highsmith now and that the fucking groin injury because that's a recurring thing.
Yep. There's no doubt about it.
I do think
go ahead.
If we're talking about the roster, I think that the roster that gets cut to 53 is going to have probably 4 or 5 changes by the time we get to week 1.
No doubt.
You're going to have guys put on injured reserve designated for return. You're going to have some guys moved back and forth between the practice squad. There's going to be some guys that fans like that are going to get cut. And it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of handle that, right? Because and some of it is with the guys they cut, like who do they think they can get through waivers onto the practice squad, right? Like they cut Scotty Miller in the middle of last year. No one signed him. They put him on the practice squad, so on and so forth. That some of those guys that they may keep guys that are a bit of a surprise just because they don't necessarily think that guy could get through waivers onto the practice
Then they'll
squad.
cut him a few days later and put him on the practice squad.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, does anybody wish they still called it the taxi squad?
It would be cool.
I like that. I don't know why.
It would be cool. What was the how did they put it? You just sent a taxi to come go and get him on game day.
Exactly. That's where it came
player.
From. I think it was
that was back when rosters were 47 players.
Yeah.
Can you fucking imagine?
Well, the reason I always remember it's because I remember watching so many of the stories about Rocky Blyer and when he came back from Vietnam and stuff, and Mr. Rooney obviously was patient and so good with him and everything, and he kept using that term during some of the interviews about, well, I was on the taxi squad. I just always find it funny, but Be that as it may, I think the outside linebacker depth is an issue right now. See, thank you, Jamie. He loves Taxi Squad as well. See, yeah, we're on to something. Let's start the movement. Start the movement immediately.
I mean, it was cool. It was.
So what do you do, Ben, about Skylar Thompson and Will Howard? Because I think the common thought is,
or what do they do?
No, what would the team do right now? What do you think they're going to do?
I think they're going to cut Skylar Thompson and they're going to keep Will Howard and put him on the roster as a third-team quarterback. What would I do? I would keep both of them on the roster, and I would put Will Howard on injured reserve, designated for return, a couple of days later. I think it's 24 hours later or 48 hours later. Anyway, I think it's Monday, but it might be Tuesday.
Right.
And I would roll with that for a while. Now, if somebody wants to trade for Skylar Thompson,
that was my next question. There are.
Then I let that trade go through.
Yeah.
But the most you're going to get for that guy is like a 6.
I think that's absolute best case scenario.
But a 6 is better than cutting him.
Oh, big time. Big time.
Should have 7 is better than cutting him.
There's some quarterback needy teams out there. I mean, you look at the Lions right now. The Lions obviously have Jared Goff. It looks like former Steeler Kyle Allen's the backup. Hendon Hooker, who has been a nightmare. And so they might want some stability there for a third guy. The Rams,
like Kyle Allen, man. The fact that
I like Kyle Allen too. Don't get me wrong.
He's got some great big fucking balls.
He's got Duck Hodges balls, doesn't he?
Right.
Oh man, that's what I liked about him.
Also got training camp legend Justin Brown.
The Rams, I mean, Craig Stafford, we don't even know if he's going to play at all. I mean, they say his one day his back is bad, he can't do anything. The next day, he'll be fine.
Stafford just got a big raise too.
Yeah. So
big raise.
I think if it was up to me, I think this is a situation where they might actually keep 4, and like Ben said, keep all 4 quarterbacks, move Howard to the IR designated for return.
Yep.
You can put him there, and if he spends the rest of the year on IR, if he doesn't start practicing again, you don't lose that designated for return spot. Like, you can only bring so many guys back from IR, but like sometimes guys are on IR and never actually return.
How many is it now? Is it 6 guys you can bring back?
I'm not sure.
That's what I was just going to
It's a lot of guys.
It's a lot now. Yeah, they've changed it. But
it used to be 2.
Right.
Yeah.
2 was the number in my head, and then they've changed it.
The other thing that does for you, though, if you keep all 4, is it gives you the option extending into the season of trading Skylar whenever Howard's ready to come back. Obviously a lot of teams have quarterback injuries now.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to get better when they play 3 weeks of football, right?
Nope.
Other teams are going to have more guys get injured. And I mean, Skylar's played in this league before, playing against backups in the preseason. He looks like a guy who has NFL experience playing against backups, right? That's how he's looked. So I think his value to you from a trade standpoint only increases the farther you get into the first few weeks of the season and the more quarterback needy other teams get.
Somebody gets hurt and they need a guy, and
Cleveland has like 6 quarterbacks and 5 of them are hurt, and the only one that isn't is Joe Flacco, who hasn't played a snap this preseason, right? So like there's a case to be made there for keeping 4 quarterbacks and putting Howard on the IR and then bringing someone in another position that you cut back onto the roster.
Right.
I am not supposed to feel bad for Cleveland in any way, shape, or form, but there's this little part of there's this little part of me that kind of feels for Kevin Stefanski.
Why?
Because it just feels like he's being completely set up.
Maybe you shouldn't have taken the Cleveland job.
Well, that's
maybe he shouldn't have. Maybe he should have like nobody should ever take a job with the Jets. Maybe he shouldn't have taken the fucking Cleveland job. Maybe he should have known better.
You could be right. You could be right. I don't know.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at a guy like Ben Johnson, and he was like picky and choosy about where he would
go.
Oh
boy, he sure was, wasn't he?
And which general manager he would work with, and all. He was like, no, some of these organizations are just fucked. Like, it's a losing culture.
That's it's a fascinating topic because
I don't want to be part of that, right? And I get it. I 100% I get that, and I respect his decision to only deal with certain teams. And even when he was just an OC, well, he was a passing game coordinator, and he was going to become an OC.
Mm-hmm.
Even then, he was like, "Yeah, I only want to work with some teams," and he had really high salary demands. So, eventually he became an OC and made a whole ton of money as an OC.
Yeah.
I mean, as OCs go.
And I'd be surprised if more coordinator types don't follow that same thinking.
Oh, for sure.
I would.
And then, again, when you're going to become a head coach, you're like, okay, that's great. I want to be a head coach, but I don't want to be a failure as a head coach, because if I am, I won't get another shot. So, that being the case, I'm going to be picky and choosy about which team I will work for, because I want a GM that's going to work with me and do it my way. And I want an organization that's going to give me the latitude to do what I need to do to make this a successful franchise.
Yeah.
Because in all likelihood, when you take over as a head coach, things are not going well.
Right. There's a reason you're the new coach. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not too many Super Bowl teams that get rid of their coaches, and Barry Switzer. In any case, right. Yeah. What are you going to do? Who are some guys that you think are in need of big performances this week? They're bubble guys, and Ian was so kind. Ian was so kind to give us his roster breakdown that featured numerous emojis today in our chat, including a bubble emoji for many guys.
It was?
If you go back and look, it's in there.
Where is it? Which
I think it was in
it
the
general.
I think it was Gen Chat. Yeah. Ian, who's a couple of guys you think are on that bubble, and a good performance might get them on the roster?
Beanie.
Beanie Bishop absolutely is one. It does, yes.
Yeah.
But it's a numbers game at cornerback, right? That you've got Slay, JPJ, Ramsey, and Eccles, who are all locks to make the roster.
Yep.
So then you're looking at, okay, they're probably going to keep at most 6 corners. So then it comes down to 3 guys for 2 spots between James Pierre, Corey Trice, and Beanie Bishop. And they're 3 guys who all do different things. They all do something well, but they all do different things, right? James Pierre is a pretty darn good special teamer, not real good at actual defense, but pretty good gunner, good on teams. And that can get you on a roster, right? Being a good gunner has gotten James Pierre on this roster for like 4 straight years. So,
and how many roster spots do you think Danny Smith's got? I think it's 4 or 5, right?
Yeah, 5.
Like he can say, look, these are my guys. I need you to protect these guys.
Yeah. Which is why I would say like Connor Heyward is a lock, because of
which sucks because he's not good.
Objectively looking at him play, he wouldn't be a lock, but because of special teams, yes.
He's objectively ungood, man.
He's meatball. Who should get his spot?
Fuck anybody. A wide receiver, an offensive lineman.
Well, but no, that's kind of why I bring it up, because we talked a little earlier about wide receivers and the fact that, Calvin Austin hasn't done much in the last several weeks because of the oblique injury, but he's going to make the roster. So does Mike Tomlin say, maybe we need an extra receiver? Well, I got to cut from somewhere else.
Well, here's the thing: if you keep 4 tight ends, as you've just pointed out,
yeah,
you have to reduce the count at another position, someplace. Be that corner, safety, linebacker, whatever. And so you have to balance all of those decisions, right? Along with, is this guy, as Ian has alluded to earlier, is this guy going to get claimed? If I put him on waivers, is he gone?
So, okay, so let me go back to my cornerback stuff, right?
Yeah.
That Corey Trice is a really nice player, has all the physical capabilities, but cannot stay healthy. And I think they may finally be getting to the point of like, this dude has the tools, but he just can't stay healthy. And if you cut him, another team might sign him, especially if you cut him as like waived injured.
Yeah.
Then you got to go through that whole thing. But then you got Beanie Bishop, who is really like just a slot guy, right? He can't play outside. He can do a little bit on teams. He's not really a gunner, but he's really just a slot corner. But then you're like, okay, if he's just a slot corner, well, our top three are Slay, JPJ, and Ramsey. And then Eccles is kind of our backup at every position, including slot. So, like, are we going to keep a third slot corner here? Like, and that's the hard thing with Beanie, right? Beanie had good plays last year. Beanie's had some good plays in the preseason. Beanie picked off Aaron Rodgers twice last year.
Yeah.
Granted, one of them bounced off the receiver's helmet, but nevertheless, nevertheless, go ahead and drink.
Drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, right. We've got three guys for two spots, which really I think Pierre makes the roster because of special teams.
Yeah.
So then it comes down to Trice or Bishop. And if you want to really stretch it, you could say usually they keep like 6 corners, 4 safeties, but maybe they decide, hey, we're going to keep 5 and 5 and keep Sebastian Castro instead of Beanie Bishop because maybe we feel a little right, kind of like James Pierre is Miles Killebrew at safety, right? That it's like he's a really darn good special teams player. We want him out there for all the special team snaps.
Yes. Yeah.
But if he has to play snaps on defense, we're fucked, right? Like, and that's kind of how I feel when I see James Pierre out there, right? It's like if I see James Pierre out there on defense, especially last year when they tried him out trying to cover the Bengals receivers when they had like T. Higgins, I was like,
yeah, dude.
Oh
my God.
That didn't go over well.
Now, you know what's scary about that is like James Pierre was a 3rd-round pick. And Corey Trice was a 7.
Well, Corey Trice was only 7 because of injuries, right? If it was just
right.
Corey
But
Trice,
if you see Corey out there and he's healthy on that day, you're like, okay, well, Trice has got this. We're good. It's no problem. That's a guy, speaking of bubbles, that I think is on the bubble. Corey Trice.
No doubt. No doubt.
On the bubble because the dude just like he is an NFL corner.
Terrell Austin said as much this week. Yeah.
He is an NFL corner, no question. But the dude just can't stay healthy.
No.
And availability is a very valuable ability.
Yes.
And the dude frequently is not.
Right.
So I do think it might be down. I think if Pierre makes the team.
Fuck you, Aaron.
I think it defensive back overall, I think it's 3 guys for 1 spot between Trice, Bishop, and Castro, which is unfortunate, but I think that's what it is. Sticking with the defense.
Castro's getting cut, in my opinion. And he'll go on the practice squad and he'll be a special teamer probably every fucking week.
He's one of those guys. He didn't test well at all, but he just knows how to play football. Now I'm not saying that means
football IQ.
Yeah, he's just a good football player.
He's like the Robert Spillane of safeties, is what you're saying.
Yes. He is the HVAC installation guy of safeties. I want to. Joe mentioned earlier, can you get something in a trade for Bishop? At best, 7th round, but I don't see anybody.
No. Slot corners are a dime a dozen.
They're dime a dozen.
Those guys anywhere.
Yeah.
The guy you might be able to get something for in a trade on defense is Cole Holcomb, because Cole Holcomb has actually looked pretty good in the preseason. I don't think they're going to cut him. I think they're not cutting him. Which
I predicted earlier this year that they would cut him, but he's playing too well. Like
he is.
I think they've got 3 guys. He won't be a starter, but they've got 3 guys that they can stick in there and make it work. And they all know the defense, and it's like, okay.
And I think Holcomb's a guy you can stick in there in short yardage situations to be kind of your thumper, right?
Yeah.
But then that brings into the question, speaking of bubble guys, right? Between Malik Harrison, Mark Robinson, and Carson Bruner, like, okay, if you keep 4 inside linebackers, we've got 3 with Queen, Wilson, and Holcomb. So you keep in Harrison, you keep in Robinson, you keep in Bruner. I think Bruner ultimately gets cut and goes on the practice squad, but that's kind of like Harrison or Robinson. And both of those are very similar, like thumper type guys too. So
Harrison makes the team on special teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he was signed, is that he was a good special teamer in Ratland. And, that being the case, they were like, yeah, sure, we'll take you. You can be a 2-down linebacker for us, because that's what he is at this point.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
think the odd man out is
Robinson.
Robinson's he's done. I mean, yeah, he's gonna get cut. He's not even gonna be on the practice squad. They're gonna be like, hey, thanks, we appreciate your service.
Yeah,
you got really big while you were here. Probably should lay off the steroids. The dude is gigantic.
He is a built individual.
Yeah. And all right, to continue to answer your question, Mark.
Yes.
Yes. Sticking with the defense, defensive line, I think there's probably 4 guys fighting over 2 spots. We usually keep 6, so you figure based on like Heyward, Benton, Harmon are definitely locks. I think Black, with the way he's played so far, even in limited snaps, is probably a lock because we drafted him this year. I think Logan Lee, with the way he stepped in and long snapped, gives him some versatility that maybe elevated him above where I thought he was. I think he trends up a little bit based on just that, what he did last week with long snapping. But then, I mean, and really, like, Dean Lowry's injury kind of hurts here now, because now I'm like, all right, we got to find 2 guys between Logan Lee, Loudermilk, Akalier, and
that guy.
Yeah.
Look at Roberts in here talking about the days of Ron Shanklin and Glenn Edwards.
We'll get to offense. Hold on a minute.
Kudos, Robert.
Yeah,
right with you.
I love our chat. Yeah, our chat's the best. But finding 2 guys between those, like, all of a sudden Lee and Loudermilk might make the roster and not be that much of a surprise. And I thought Loudermilk was like a for sure cut coming into camp.
I would say right now, my gut feeling is they're going to add from other teams cuts. I can see D-line depth and I can see O-line depth.
Yeah, we need to talk O-line.
So Jamie just corrected me about James Pierre not being a 3rd-round pick. He was undrafted.
He was.
I did not realize that.
Florida Atlantic, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, it's
Florida schools.
One of the 35 Florida schools that play D1 football. If we use the preface all the time about, well, it's preseason, you're playing against third string, for some guys we got to do it for other. Holcomb has largely been on the field earlier in games, but I can't argue that he's playing hard. Even some of the coaches have said we're impressed. He's not quite back to what he was, but yet we love what we see. I don't think he's going anywhere. Mechie, didn't he just get traded?
Mechie just got
John
traded.
Mechie, yeah,
he just got traded.
Yeah. Yes, Yunzergear. That's what she said. You can tell he watches the show.
Yunzergear is great. He's in the chat every week. Always supports the show. Supports us on Twitter. Yeah, I mean, everybody in the chat is awesome. I love all you guys.
Get us to 500, baby. We're closing in. We're about 20 away.
If you're listening to the show,
we're still a 7 and 9 podcast.
Yeah, we're a 7 and 9. We're right up there with like Jeff Fisher.
Yeah, we're a Jeff Fisher podcast right now.
Yeah,
we'd like to be a Mike Tomlin podcast. So if you could just like bump us up to a 9 and 8 type show,
Right. Speaking of that, our big season previews show. I'm just trying to think of
2 weeks.
it'd be 2 weeks out. That's when we will go through our predictions for all the divisions, who makes the playoffs, all of the over-unders on different stats of
Jeff Fisher Steelers. For ruining Vince Young?
Really? Here's a guy who's from Texas.
You really? You think that Jeff Fisher ruined? Maybe Vince Young ruined Vince Young. That's definitely my position on that. That dude.
Who was the quarterback when Fisher got the Titans to the Super Bowl? Was Steve McNair, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just drawing a blank.
Steve McNair was a fucking stud.
Man, that guy. He ended some games in bad ways for us. He beat the Steelers a couple times, man.
Fucker.
He was tough though. He was a tough guy.
I mean, he's not a Hall of Famer or anything.
No.
He was a good quarterback.
Yep. He played the position well. Tough guy, man.
Also, I'm pretty sure the Cheesecake Factory ruined Vince Young more than Jeff Fisher.
I think that's a good possibility, but I think it was Vince's. I think it was his attitude that ruined him, especially after his rookie year when he won Rookie Offensive Player of the Year. He seemed to shift and think that all of a sudden he was going to be as good as a pro as he was in college, and stopped working.
Things turned around pretty quickly,
and that's why it didn't really work out for him. And he didn't really. I mean, he went to a couple places after he left the Titans, and they were like, "What the fuck is this guy's deal?" No.
Yeah. Let me get back to the Steelers for a minute. And Ian, you kind of alluded to the long snapping thing as regarding Logan Lee and everything. What a strange injury to Christian Kuntz. I mean,
strange.
Well, I mean, do you see that a sternum? I mean, I didn't see a replay or anything. Did he take a helmet to the chest? I mean,
maybe. Or a helmet or a straight on shoulder pad, a really square hit.
Yeah, which can happen. Squared right up.
Right to the chest. Broken sternum. Apparently the break's not that bad. Like they think he might be available for the season opener.
Right.
A bad break in his sternum would put him out for like 8 weeks. So
I mean, I was worried for the guy. I mean, to come over and to be all bent over and struggling to breathe and you know, you start to put the human element into it. I mean, I'm pretty sure he and his wife literally just had a baby and everything else. And you're like, geez, oh man. And so I'm grateful that it's not as bad as it first looked, but
puts his wife in a really bad position too.
Oh, geez.
Because now.
Yeah.
Right.
Unbelievable. So, you know, they did bring in somebody else there. Rock Taylor getting cut was kind of surprising, but Ian, as you pointed out in our chat this week, a lot of wide receivers have stepped up. Brandon Johnson has played pretty well and some of these other guys. And you have to wonder, did him not laying out in the end zone for that throw from Woodside, did that?
You've heard that a lot about him though. Like, there's a lot of talent there, but when it comes down to the moment,
right,
he doesn't rise to the occasion. It's like, you know, it's like this guy's got immense potential, but he just won't step up and be the guy in that situation. Like take this, like grab the bull by the horn.
Exactly. Grab the initiative, man. And I don't think he did. And George said he heard he had an attitude. I haven't heard that. I hadn't
heard that either, but again, just watching what little bit of we did see of him when he did play, I was a little underwhelmed. Like,
I expected a little more based on what I saw of his college tape.
This is for a guy with that size and that physicality and speed. You would have thought he could have got open more, and he just didn't. He played smaller than his size, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's a good way of putting it. But it was just like, okay, this dude has got a great deal of physical ability, but when it comes to actual effort, it's not there.
Yeah, and sometimes that's what separates a guy from making a roster or even a practice squad from being on the street.
I mean, look at a guy like other side of the coin, Calvin Austin, Scotty Miller, undersized players who really don't have all the physical gifts, but when they get into that crunch time moment, they're going to capitalize on it.
Yeah,
because they sense that these moments are what make the difference between being a player in the NFL and not being one.
Ian, does Lou Nichols have a chance?
I thought we were going to talk about O-line first, but let's talk about.
We'll get there.
All right, I think Lou Nichols is a practice squad player, but I don't think he has a chance at this roster just because of how many guys they probably have to keep and then put on IR. Like, I think Christian Kuntz, I think what they wind up doing at long snapper is I think they keep Kuntz on the 53, put him on the IR designated for return, and then sign a long snapper. Because you can find long snappers anywhere.
They signed one this week.
Snapper. They signed one already.
Yeah, they're going to cut him and then re-sign him like 2 days later is what's going to happen.
Who's our backup long snapper?
Logan Lee, the defense.
Logan Lee now.
Logan Lee, that's right.
Yeah.
And
he did fine.
You didn't James Harrison.
There was no. There were a couple that even Waitman had to go up for. So there were a couple of those, but
which actually that brings me to another point. I know it's the preseason, and I'm not going to criticize coaching, but I think the biggest thing that surprised me in that game was Mike Tomlin kicking the extra point after they scored to get it to 14-13, right? 13. Yeah, to kick the extra point to make it 14. I was like, it's the end of the third quarter. You're playing guys who are going to be working at the Waffle House in 2 weeks. Why not go for two here to make sure you don't go to and then we're going through the fourth quarter, right? And like they turn the ball over, we turn the ball over, they turn the ball over, we turn, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this game's gonna go to overtime. Like we do
not anymore.
This was a totally preventable situation if you had gone for two, and like the result doesn't matter, right? The game doesn't matter. So why kick the extra point in that situation?
But no more overtime though.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Done. And that tells me probably why he didn't.
Yeah.
But your point is still valid though.
Yeah. I think Lou Nichols has surpassed Max Hurleman now as like my guy who has exceeded expectations the most through 2 games.
Hurleman still hasn't gotten a carry, has he?
No, they had him in the backfield a couple times, but haven't done.
I think he's just being viewed strictly as a receiver at this point. And I don't
slot. It looks like. I mean,
doesn't it? God, yeah, I think so. They just don't seem to be interested in him being a running back. And again, he's one of those guys that always seems to be around the play. There was a fumble on a punt return. There he is. He's right there. There was another fumble. I think it was a fumble by one of our guys, and he was right there.
He might make it on teams.
Right.
He might make it on teams.
You just don't.
I don't know. I don't know at what position, but he might make it on teams.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay. Let's get to the offensive line. Both Fatanu and Jones looked better through the first 2 preseason games.
Trending upwards.
That's all you can ask, right? Yeah. But what's the depth behind them? Is there a guy on this roster that you would feel good about? Okay, Jones is out this week. We need a left tackle. Who is it?
Andres Pete.
It probably would have to be. Yeah.
It is. It is 100%. It's Andres Pete.
And I thought he looked okay last week.
I did too. I didn't think he looked great, but
no.
He has solid technique.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give him that. Like you can tell he's been around a while. He knows what he's doing. But in terms of like being a really dominant player, no,
that's over. Did you guys happen to catch real quick the story that Aaron Rodgers got on the linemen because they were not helping Skylar Thompson up after he would get hit by the defense?
Yep.
Yeah.
I had no issue with that.
No, and I think it was Trey Essex who posted on X about that, and he was pissed.
What's X?
Twitter. Or
Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Twitter, X, whatever.
I'm sorry. I call it by its proper name.
Which is?
Twitter.
Oh, thank you. Okay. I tried to be like cool and up and hip, but I'll just.
No, we're Pittsburghers here. We still talk about where the Isleys used to be, right? Yeah.
Fair.
And if you do that long enough, right, like the pavilion at Burgettstown, people just called it Star Lake forever, and then it became Star Lake again. And so it was like, hey, you do it for long enough, and it becomes the thing again.
You Pittsburghers, man.
Yeah.
So I just found that.
Do you think do you guys think they're going to reopen the Big O?
That's what she said.
Yeah.
The Big not. O?
Probably not. No.
What's the Big O?
Hot dog shop in Oakland.
You've never been to the Big O? How have you never been to the Big O, Mark?
Well, you can't now because it's closed.
I don't know. I don't get out to Oakland when I'm in town.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been there sober, but
well,
not many people.
Or during the day.
Yeah.
Or actually anytime before like 10:30 p.m. Yeah.
I typically do what is it, Pamela's for breakfast, and
the O is great though because you could get like a basket of hot dog and fries, and it was dirt cheap, and it was so good when you were drunk, and
of course,
yeah. And you went to bed full, and you were like, "Oh my god, this is perfect."
And then you woke up and you puked your guts out.
No. You did that before you woke up.
Before, clear it all out. Yeah.
You mentioned the offensive line. Yeah. Sorry, I got to talk about this. I know I'm pulling us back to like the actual.
I know the actual
right?
program.
Yeah. I think there's 6 guys competing for 4 spots, maybe 5, depending on how many linemen.
Bring it down to brass tacks, Ian.
Yeah. So
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. You've got your 5 starters that are locked in. And then depending on whether they keep 9 or 10 linemen, that means you've got 4 or 5 spots available. So you've got Dylan Cook, who's struggled a little bit, Calvin Anderson, who's been injured, Andres Pete, who's been inconsistent but is a veteran presence, Spencer Anderson, who has some positional versatility but also been injured, Max Sharping, and then Ryan McCollum, who is probably some other guys can play center, but McCollum's probably your backup center. So I think McCollum probably makes the roster there. But then, all right, so I named 6 guys for 5 spots. One of them gets cut, but I don't know who it's going to be. It might be Dylan Cook because of Andres Pete getting signed.
Well, they did get rid of Warren, Gareth Warren. He really was not so good this week.
Well, they cut it. They waived him injured.
Oh, I didn't see that. It was an injury designation.
Yeah.
Okay.
They waived him injured, so they had to pay him to let him go.
Okay.
Which one of Tina?
And Sharping, I have not been overly impressed with. I thought I would like him a little bit more, but
he's okay.
He is. I mean, I guess if you need a spot guy, a reserve guy, it's fine. But I just think they need some help on there. I really do. I don't.
And a lot of these guys are guys they've drafted in the later rounds, like Calvin and Spencer Anderson. Ryan McCollum was an undrafted free agent. That these are fine depth pieces, but if any of them have to come in and start for an extended period of time, we're in trouble.
Yeah,
right.
I agree.
This is a unit where you have a lot of guys of a similar talent level, but none of them are starter caliber talent either.
Mm-hmm. That's a good way to put it.
And I've said this all off season. I'm still worried about Mason McCormick. Like them just handing him the right guard job. I'm still a little worried about that. He's playing better, but
he's kind of like that. Okay. He's kind of like that guy that nobody pays any attention to because they're so focused on everything else.
I'm more concerned about
guard,
the left guard.
That's fine. If if you're like, he's not giving up pressure, he's doing his job, like that's fine in a guard. We don't necessarily need an all-pro guard. We don't necessarily need a David DeCastro or an Alan Faneca. Like if they're just doing their jobs, that's totally fine.
Ben, what were you going to say?
Are you guys concerned with the stability at left guard? Because that's my concern.
I thought Samalu took a slight step back last year. And I'm
he did. He took a big step back last year, but that's because he wasn't healthy.
Right.
Like the whole year he wasn't healthy, and it seems like he's going to have issues staying healthy this year too if the preseason is an indicator. So it's like, okay, what do you have there to back him up so that the play is at least decent?
Right.
Because his first year, the guy dominated.
He was great.
But since then, it's been spotty. So I'm concerned about that.
Same.
And you have a left guard who's still a young left tackle who's still a young left tackle. And he's playing better, but I'm not going to call him a dominant player.
No.
And putting a replacement level player next to him, which is what you're going to end up doing at some points this season, lends itself to situations where you can pressure the left side.
For sure. Yeah.
And Aaron Rodgers sucks when pressured. So yeah. You see where I'm going with this.
Well, we've said for the last 2 months that offensive line is going to ultimately, I think, dictate the overall success of this team.
And get Pat Meyer fired, hopefully. But
I think that's coming because I don't. Yeah, well, we'll leave it at that for our season preview show.
Keen Butler,
for sure. Do you guys have anything else tonight? Not much.
No, I mean, the last preseason game has always been kind of like
it's one of the hardest things to watch.
A mail-it-in game, right? You remember that episode of The Office where they were like, this is a run out the clock situation. Like they were like, we just need to stall until the day is over. Like that's really what this is. This is a run out the clock situation.
Yeah, it's just horrible.
Which is why probably we wind up with 18 regular season games and they cut the third preseason game because they're like, nobody tries in this. Why are we doing this? We're going to go to another week of the regular season, which kind of sucks. But like they had a perfect thing. 16 weeks, the schedule matrix worked great. Everything worked in rotation. It was awesome. And 17 games. It's like now there's an uneven balance of 9 home games, not 8 away games. So I don't know. They had a good thing and they ruined it, but money rules all.
Mark.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mark, do you remember we were little kids when they were still doing this?
Yeah.
But once upon a time, the NFL had a 5-game preseason.
Oh, God, yes. Yes.
Can you imagine? Yep. But for one team, the Super Bowl champions, there was a 6th game.
Yep.
They opened the preseason up. Super Bowl champions versus the college all-stars.
Yep.
This is after the draft. So these guys would get a week of practice, the college all-stars. 1 week.
Yep.
And then they would play the Super Bowl champions and get the living shit kicked out of them every season.
Yep. That was in an era when teams really weren't overly concerned about the money they were paying their players and the injuries and all that stuff. I mean, it was a concern, don't get me wrong, but in fact, I think the Steelers may have been one of the last to do that because I think it ended in the late 70s, early 80s. That practice stopped.
I think the Steelers played in it twice, but it might have been 3 times they played in it. I'm not positive.
Yep. And then you had the 4 preseason games, but then you also had where if the 2 teams played in the Hall of Fame game, they would play 5. They would get that extra preseason game. So, I think it's I think it's good. They've limited it down to 3, but it doesn't matter whether it's 2, 3, 7, 12. That last preseason game is just always awful. I don't know any other way to put it. I wanted to address, and let me check real quick who asked this. Maybe it was Yinzer Gear. Oh, yeah, Dalton Risner. There was some scuttlebutt that he might be signing with the Steelers. And for those of you that don't know a lot about him, he's been first 4 seasons with Denver, then his last 2 seasons all at guard, and super available. Guy didn't miss really any time his first 5 seasons, and then missed a little bit last year in Minnesota. But outside of that, I don't know a lot about him, but I would go so far as to say probably a nice depth piece. If they pull it off. He met with the Bengals and the Seahawks, but apparently told some people that he would prefer to sign with the Steelers.
It wouldn't shock me if the Bengals made a better offer, because their left guard just went down for the season.
Yes, that's right. You're right. And they may put forth
I think they may improve their offer because of their situation.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to pay Trey Hendrickson, but they may pay a replacement guard because of the Bengals.
Right.
Their offensive line sucks anyway.
Oh man, they.
I mean, it's like all they've done is invest in skill positions on offense. Their defense is terrible. Their offensive line is ungood.
They are like the kid playing Madden. He gets all the best skill players and gets all the worst offensive linemen and wonders why his team sucks all the time.
Yeah.
It really is kind of like that, So the Steelers will finish up the preseason tomorrow night down in Carolina, and then they'll go a few days before they have to make their final cuts, 4 or 5 days, and then all the stuff will start, and then the opening game of the season is what, September 4th?
Yep, we have a show that night.
Yeah, we'll do the show that night. That'll be our big season preview show. Mm-hmm. While the Eagles and Cowboys kick it off.
The Eagles and the Cowboys, not the Steelers. I'm sorry, I missed.
No, yeah, Eagles Cowboys September 4th.
Eagles Cowboys. That's fine.
Yeah.
Everybody hates the Cowboys anyway. Like,
yeah. I mean, it's just, yeah. Anyway, we love you guys. Thank you so much for being with us in the chat again. We did it a night early so that you guys could all enjoy the Steelers tomorrow night. I mean, as much as you can enjoy the final preseason game as we've laid out, but thanks again for being here, and continue to check out the website, steelcityblitz.com, all of our socials and all that. And I want to give Ian one last shot to cover his Western PA high school football stuff.
Oh, yeah. So for those, I know Joe in the chat is a Clairton alum, and other people who may be interested in Western PA high school football. I have now all of my season preview articles up on steelcityblitz.com. You can check out my WPIAL Blitz show on YouTube. We do it live on Monday nights, so it doesn't interfere with this podcast. So you can check it out. Just search for the WPIAL Blitz show on YouTube. And then also I did a guest appearance on the WPIAL Insider show this week. So you can check that out as well when that airs. But WPIAL Blitz show on YouTube, WPIAL_Blitz on Twitter, and then also just check stuff out on the website, WPIAL standings pages, games of the week articles, all that stuff coming up too. So Mark has been very gracious with letting me take up space on the website for all my high school football previews. So I hope people enjoy it.
Hey, big high school football fan. Did it myself. My son played it, and so I anything to help promote it, and especially those kids and coaches and stuff who put in so much time. So more than happy to do it. Again, make sure you check out the website, steelcityblitz.com, and we'll be back next week in our normal slot, I believe, Thursday night. Shouldn't be a problem with that. And until then, as always, go Steelers.
Ravens suck. Not really, though.
We've had some drinks.